Before we know it, she'd have a Snoop Dogg tattoo on her shoulder.
For Shizzle My Nizzle.
I'm telling you. Julie, what do you think about that? She says.
Well, get this.
Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I wanted to talk about this story about a news anchor woman in Mississippi who appears to have been fired, allegedly, for quoting Snoop Dogg and basically saying, for Shizzle My Nizzle. And that's considered a euphemism of the N-word, the latter part of that quote. So basically she was fired. Now this happened just towards the end of the broadcast, just as they were closing up, just as they were ending the broadcast. She was having a little bit of banter and said it, and that was it, apparently. So we shall see. And I want to react to The View's take on it, which may surprise you, so stay tuned for that. So Mississippi news anchor pulled off air after quoting Snoop Dogg for Shizzle. Mississippi Morning News veteran anchor Barbie Bassett has been pulled from the air after using Snoop Dogg's popular phrase for Shizzle My Nizzle during a live broadcast. While discussing Snoop Dogg's latest venture into California wine market, Snoop Cali Blanc, Bassett and her colleagues at NBC affiliate WLBT traded jokes about the new beverage line. At one point, co-anchor Wilson Scriblin floated the idea that a newsroom journalist may get a tattoo like Martha Stewart inspired by Snoop Dogg. Because you know Snoop Dogg and Martha Stewart are like friends and they work together. For Shizzle My Nizzle, Bassett gleefully responded, seemingly unaware that nizzle is a slang word for the N-word. Standing at the far end of the desk, meteorologist Patrick Ellis appeared shocked by the comment. Bassett did not return to the anchor desk after the March 8 incident. As reported by the Clarion Ledger, Bassett is no longer listed as a news team member. Bassett, who is white, also tweeted the phrase in 2011, but the post has since been deleted. This is not the first time Bassett found herself at the centre of controversy. In October, so not that long ago, Bassett, who was WLBT's first ever chief meteorologist, apologised after using the phrase grandmammy while speaking with a black female reporter who she called girl and sis. Oh dear. And in her apology after that incident, she said, "Though not intentional, I now understand how my comment was both insensitive and hurtful. I have apologised to Cameron Poe. Now I would like to apologise to you. That is not the heart of who I am. And for that, I humbly ask for your forgiveness and I apologise to everyone I have offended. I will learn from this and participate in training so I can better understand our history and our people. I can't mend the hurt my comment caused. I pray you'll forgive me and that you'll extend grace through this awful mistake." So that was just in October, and now, perhaps if it wasn't for this incident, you know, she may have been able to just give an apology for the whole faux shizzle comment. But unfortunately with this as well, and apparently, you know, some people were saying online that there have been complaints been made about her in the past, allegedly. So my thing is, clearly it's because this is a white news anchor woman, and we have one rule for one group of people, another rule for another set of people, if you know what I mean. So there's a lot of confusion, and not just with anything related to the N-word, with other terms as well. And we'll look at the View's response to this, because Whoopi Goldberg actually defends Barbie Bassett because she herself, as a black woman, has been caught up in a lot of controversy over statements that she has made. Even just a couple of weeks ago, she had to issue yet another apology.
Today, on a very serious note, continuing to apologize in the wake of her controversial comments about race and the Holocaust. Ann Mercogliano reports.
My words upset so many people, which was never my intention.
Whoopi Goldberg apologizing on The View today for saying the Holocaust was not about race.
I regret my comments, as I said, and I stand corrected. I also stand with the Jewish people. You know, when you're a certain age, you use words that you know from when you were a kid or you remember saying, and that's what I did today, and I shouldn't have.
Whoopi Goldberg is apologizing after using a derogatory term on Wednesday's episode of The View. The actress faced backlash for using the word while describing how some Donald Trump supporters felt after his loss in the 2020 election.
Criminal charges against you-know-who could be coming any day now.
After facing criticism from viewers online, Whoopi shared a video message via the show's official Twitter page.
I should have thought about it a little longer before I said it, but I didn't. And I should have said cheated, and I used another word, and I'm really, really sorry.
The slur is considered to be racist and derogatory towards people of Romani heritage and culture, with it deriving from the word gypsy.
So again, anybody can get hit by this. When it comes to the woke rules, it can hit anybody now. And I have to say, I do like it when the woke mob are held to their own rules, such as in the case of Whoopi, to the point now where she is defending this woman. And I was surprised at the take that The View had on it. So we'll take a look at that. But my thing is, Don Lemon has said the N-word, the actual N-word, on CNN multiple times. And he's even defended it, saying that, he believes that when you're quoting somebody, you should just say the word. So it is hard to understand, what are the rules when it comes to this. So apparently on CNN, you are allowed to use that word if you're comfortable with it. This is according to Don Lemon.
But first, I need to show you something that is causing a whole lot of controversy. Ready for it? Here it is, the newspaper headline, and it simply reads, "The in the White House." Now, if you have watched me over the past few years, you know how I feel about this. Although I think that this word is toxic and it is used gratuitously too often by far too many people of all different ethnic backgrounds, I do think it should be used if it is pertinent to a news story or the conversation, like this headline. We can't talk about it without actually saying the word. But was it appropriate to be used in this way in a headline? Did this newspaper go too far? Well, the writer of this article, who, by the way, is white and insisted on this headline, he's going to join me live to defend himself.
Was the president right to use that word?
I don't think so. I will tell you that I was surprised, I was shocked, I was disappointed. I think language matters, especially when that language is coming from the leader of the free world, the president of the United States, especially as an African-American man. I think what it does, quite frankly, Wolf, is give people the feeling that they too can use it. We hear that argument being made oftentimes, well, rappers use it, so I can use it too. And I think that the president was sort of ill-advised in thinking that he was either going to be provocative or be instructive and nuanced, because we all know he's a wordsmith. We know that he chooses his words carefully. So I don't think this was an accidental use of the term, but it now opens up the field for others using it. And in fact, on our very network, Wolf, you know that this term was not used. It wasn't something that journalists could use, and it wasn't something that we aired on our network. But now, because the president said it, I have heard that word, a very hurtful word, over and over and over again.
Not right.
Just today. It is right.
It is right. No, I disagree with you. We have been able to use that word on this network for the entire 9 years that I've been here.
We haven't done it.
Yes, we have. I've used it. I've done it the entire time that I've been here. And the guidance has been, if the anchor is comfortable saying the word, the anchor can say the word on this network. That has been the guidance.
Don, we had a correspondent a couple of years ago, and I've been here for 6-7 years.
But the correspondent said,
and that correspondent was not was reprimanded for using that term.
No, she was not. She was reprimanded for using an expletive, not for using that word.
That's even worse, Don, because that means that using an expletive is worse than using a racial epithet.
But it's not.
She was using the
no. If she was on television calling someone that word, then yes, she should be suspended for it. But if she's on television using that word in context as to what someone said or what was used in a court of law or what have you, then no one should be suspended for that. We should not sanitize that word by saying this person called such and such the N-word. No, that person didn't call that person the N-word. That person called Sonny. I know you're going to get upset. That person called you or that person a nigger. They didn't say the N-word.
I can't believe,
journalists,
Don, that you, as an African-American man, is going to use that word just so flippantly.
Because
words
we're
matter,
using
and
it.
you should know that.
And, this was a few years ago, maybe like 2014, he had this debate. So maybe things have changed now, obviously, especially in light of recent developments, if you can call it that. So, you know, maybe things have changed, but it does seem to be there's a lot of confusion. There was the case of the young man who lost his scholarship to a university in Florida because he was rapping to a song that contained the N-word. It does bring up the whole debate. If you're offended by the word, don't use it. But of course, we're going to have the counter argument saying that some people have the right to use it and other people, if they use it, they will face the consequences. So, you know, that's where we're at, to the point where now it's affecting people like Whoopi, who are actually considered to be in a protected class of people. Even she has now been having to issue multiple apologies.
But now that we're talking about this,
Yes.
there are too many things. Y'all need to make a book of stuff that no one can say. There has to be a book of stuff nobody could ever say.
And then we could all study.
Ever, ever, ever.
Then the book would be banned.
Include everything. Include everything. Because I tell you, the things that change, you can say this, but you can't say that. But next week you might not be able to say this. It's hard to keep up. It's hard to keep up. And if you're a person of a certain age, there's stuff we do and we say. You know what I'm saying.
And you know, and it's also.
And you have no idea until somebody says, oh, by the way.
Yeah.
You should know that just because we're on television, wherever we are, whoever we're talking about, just because we're on television doesn't mean we know everything. We don't know everything you're not supposed to do. And if there's something someone says, if you're not going to give them the opportunity to explain why they said it, at least give them the grace of saying, you know what, I've just been informed that I should not have done that, as opposed to you're out. Because you saying you're out means you don't want to hear what people have to say or the mistakes that they might have made that could help somebody else not make that mistake.
And there's no rehabilitation.
No, there's none.
So I agree with her, but the hypocrisy is that it's people like you on your show that created these rules where people are not given any grace, where people aren't allowed to learn. She has been on the receiving end multiple times. And I do think in her case, it has been a genuine mistake in some of the incidents concerning her, especially the one most recently. I do think the one most recently, it was only like a couple of weeks ago, that was a genuine mistake. This is a word that she has used probably from the 70s or whenever, and she didn't know that it's considered a racial slur. That could have been a genuine mistake, but she's lucky she didn't get fired. Barbie wasn't so lucky, was she? Because she's a white woman, and there are certain rules that apply, you know, if you're someone of a particular race or of a certain side on the political spectrum. And that's where we're at now. These women did the same thing to Trump. They take his words, twist it, and say he's a racist. You know, they have no problem taking something that somebody has said and basically trying to get them cancelled because they don't like that person. They're guilty of that on that show. So now that Whoopi's on the receiving end, she wants to talk about this topic passionately and talk about grace and talk about, you know, giving people an opportunity to explain or apologize, because she knows she's had plenty of opportunities. So thanks for watching. Let me know what you think. Share your thoughts below. See you in the next video and take care of yourselves.